Hey guys, I'm back. I know you just saw me a little while ago doing a lot of Star Piece stuff, but hey, here we are, and Ferret's with me,
Hello!
and
Trying
we
to
are
spice things up.
we are here to debut a new concept tonight called Growing Up Edutained. Now, the idea that I had for this one was to really dig into the edutainment titles of the '90s from back when I grew up, and really kind of go into why these games were as great or not as great as I believe them to be, and how are they as educational titles. And Ferret has had some experience with some of those titles as well, so he's here with me to kind of help me pitch this thing.
You want me to actually pitch it?
Oh yeah, if you have anything you wanna say here.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that happens a lot, kind of behind the scenes, is that Alpha and I will stream a game, and then when we're done streaming it, and we've done making our poop jokes and all of our bad sexual puns, like really kind of sit down and tear into the meaty chunks of like what made this game great, or why haven't we seen this genre in a while? And we talked a lot about the edutainment games because that's what we were streaming,
Hmm.
and we thought, why don't we stream that after stream discussion, because it might be the most interesting part of the whole experience and we don't really share it with anyone.
Hmm.
So we thought, why not? So this is going to be us kind of tearing into the meat and the bones of an edutainment game and kind of talking about the things we notice about it, what's going on behind the scenes, why are choices being made, what we have to say about stuff. And sometimes it'll just be, hey, this is filler, this is crap. But sometimes I think it'll be interesting. So
Hmm.
we're going to give it a shot.
All right, so the game we are going to pitch this with. It's, if you didn't see the Twitch exclusive feature we did as we were like really trying to figure out if this would work, we're going to do that again. The Island of Dr. Brain, sequel to The Castle, and in my opinion, far more difficult. As part of the then new Discovery series.
Man, that jingle brings back memories.
I know, right?
Yeah, I missed that when we were doing our test stream because we were having some audio issues, and man, I didn't realize how like hard that was gonna to hit me. Just the feel good vibes.
Absolutely, it's iconic. I mean, at the end of the day.
Uh, Speaking of streaming difficulties, are you sharing video? Because I'm not getting video.
Really?
Really?
That's weird. Not even a freeze?
No, I'm getting a Skype loading symbol. So
Oh,
it's just.
stupid thing. Okay, how about now?
It just kind of looks like Skype is fucked. But
Oh, well that's normal.
whatever. Well, I'll try and fix this on my end. You keep going forward, and I will handle technical difficulties.
Alright, good enough.
Die trying.
Alright, so basically the game picks up where the castle left off. And we had just been promoted to his assistant in the basement of his castle, where there's a lot of tape drives and gigantic monitors and shit of that nature.
All right, I'm gonna quickly call you back because
Yeah, okay.
Skype appears to have up and
Fucked.
died.
Yeah, sounds about right. So Dr. Brain got, well, brained. Testing.
Testing, testing.
Okay, and should be hearing music.
I am hearing music.
And you should now be seeing a still of Dr. Brain.
Hey!
Very good. So Dr. Brain got brained and got hit with one of his lawn flamingos with his plans for his new project stolen. I find it funny they didn't name this diabolical and sinister scientist.
Mm-hmm. Well, you never even see him. I think it's just important to raise the stakes.
Was there even one, is my question. How do you know he didn't just, I don't know, say his plans were stolen just to get you to do this for him so he didn't have to do anything?
Yeah, but this is like a kid, and you've gotta like be interesting, and the cheapest way to be interesting is to say, buy now, supplies are running out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bad guy, he does bad things, and you gotta stop the bad guy. Call now.
So now we have to go to his private island, get the battery.
Ah yes. DRM Island of Dr. Brain.
Hello.
Have you talked about the paperwork that came with this game? Because I think now is a good time to introduce all of the supporting documentation.
It absolutely would, as soon as he's done talking.
Good. Please be careful.
So, this game came with not only an 18-page operational manual, but on top of that, there is also a 56-page encycloalmanactionaryography booklet.
Which is what it's actually called.
Yeah. Actually, no. It's found 56 scans, but it's well over 100 pages. So, the deal is basically everything you need to beat this game is in a single reference. And back in a time when there was no internet, that meant a whole hell of a lot of DRM in this game. A lot. Unless you just happen to have a periodic table lying around, or you just happen to have art from 6 very specific particular artists hanging on your walls. Right. Basically, you need this book to get through pretty much every part of this game. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yep. Because you can copy the disc pretty easily. If you have a blank floppy, you can copy the entire game and share it for free. Just pirate it. No problem. But you boot it up, and here the pilot's going to tell you to give him a set of coordinates, latitude and longitude, to get to the island, or else you can't play the game. And so, did you give a photocopy of this 100-page manual? No? Well then, get fucked, pirate, you can't play.
Yeah, pretty much. Although the map for this part of it is actually not in the Encycloalmanac doodle. It's in the smaller manual. But either way, the fact that you need this kind of documentation to protect your game, what does that say? Does that say like this is expected to be a pretty high targeted item for theft?
I mean, there were very few games from this era that didn't have some kind of copy protection. Just because copying was so easy, the files are so small.
I mean, some kind of, sure. Like one thing in the game that requires you to reference a manual or something. A few examples, like Mickey's ABCs. Like the youngest kind of kids game even had copy protection on it. There was a page in that manual with 64 different pictures of Mickey Mouse in certain poses, and you had to pluck out the one matching the number that it gave you. That's reasonable. I can understand that. That's one thing in the game. If you do this, you're good to go.
You think that's bad? I had a game that had a code wheel. A legitimate, honest-to-God code wheel that you had to, like, spin around to, like, figure out a secret code. And, another one was, what was it? It was the Ninja Turtles game. They had, like, a red booklet with black, it was, like, dark red paper with black ink on it. And you had to have, like, a special film, like a sheet of, like, yellow...
You're saying like secret code.
Cellophane.
You're saying like secret code film to eliminate the jumble.
Yeah. Just to like look at the one ink from the other, obviously like you can copy that paper, but it's just going to copy as black on black because they're two really dark colors.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like hardly the most inventive or overkill copy protection I've ever seen on a game of its era. It's just kind of unique because it's like, rather than trying to be like expensive or clever or hard to defeat, it's just protection through volume.
Indeed. Just a lot of stuff. You can't put this manual down if you want to win the game. So anyway.
So let's get through the DRM.
Alright, so we start at 0 degrees latitude and 0 degrees longitude. Basically the intersection of the prime meridian and the equator is where this castle sits. And that symbol...
Which would put it just off the coast of Africa.
Yes. And that symbol, according to our manual, reads Cerebral Aqueduct, 60 degrees south and 64 degrees east from the castle. So, here's what we want to do. We need to maneuver... I don't even remember what these things are called, to be honest with you. Yeah, so that was map skills. The first thing we ever do with this.
My battery deep within the interior of my island. Therefore, just follow the trail of my security puzzles. If you have any problem solving them, just give me a call.
So like the hint coins from the last game, if you have hint charges on the watch, you can use one to call for help on a puzzle.
Which we almost certainly will.
We'll see. I'm hoping not, but we'll see. So one of the cool things about Sierra's point and click is that interesting things are said when you use different icons on them. And speaking of rotation, you can use the right click to rotate between seeing and touching. The sky is blue and clear. In the distance, you see the large volcano puffing white smoke gently into the air.
This was also a chance for the programmers to jam in as many in-jokes as they could.
You're on the beach of an island. Directly before you is a large carved frame in the side of the mountain. Sometimes they're pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
In the distance, the volcano looks calm and peaceful. Smoke gently puffs out its top. Again, pretty straight. Climbing up there would be an unexpected cliffhanger.
Yes, bad puns were their favorite in-jokes.
Yes, they most certainly were. I read that as edudamnation.
Oh, Alpha.
I mean...
The Freudian slip is strong with this one.
And the slip happened in my mind. That's the sad part. That's what I read was edudamnation, and it's like... This is what you're going to be confined to for all eternity?
Alright, so what do you say we get cracking on the puzzle?
Alrighty. So, we're going to be doing this on Expert.
Crank that pineapple.
Oh, I crank my pineapples often. Anyway. So here's our look at this. Oh, edumacation. Oh, that's it. I have to touch the blocks. Alright, so... basically, the bronze level of this, the novice, had all 3- and 4-piece Tetris-style blocks. 5s were introduced in silver, and now it looks like we have a slightly more complex 5er in here for Expert. Our job is to arrange these such that the entire 6x8 inside is filled. This took me some time the last time I did it.
Yeah, but it gives us a chance to talk about the puzzle.
Indeed.
And I thought a lot about this puzzle because this puzzle is just highly unfair. When you think about it, like, it's very difficult for a smart adult, college-educated to do. It's going to be that much harder for a kid to do, and this is a kid's game. But I was thinking about it, and I had a bit of a revelation as to why they chose to lead with this puzzle. Because you can't really feel stupid for not being able to solve it. You just haven't brute forced it enough. So it's a puzzle of pure experimentation almost, where someone who's young and doesn't have any appreciable math skills or, you know, any other education even, can eventually solve it just by thinking and looking at patterns and playing with it and poking it and prodding it and experimenting with it. There really is no fail state. There's just how close are you to success, and then eventually you get there just through experimentation.
Interesting. You know, especially in the heat of like trying to work this out, I never did think of it that way. Alright, I think maybe the middle needs to be broken up. That's how it seems anyway. Yeah, that's not gonna do. There, got it.
Congratulations! You have earned a gold shape manipulation plaque.
Shape manipulation plaque.
Yep.
And here the cursor becomes your award and your loading icon at the same time. An economy of art.
Not a terrible thing.
No.
Alright, so what can we see in this here cave?
a pretty racist Buddha statue.
Yes, good fortune relics at a potluck. Must you idle your time away? Alright, so puns aside. Oh, so the history of Sierra Online. Like where this all started.
Do you want me to,
That's up to you. I've got some things in my head that I know about Sierra.
Well, sure. I'll jump in with some of the details. Sierra was actually founded in the 70s, late 70s, but still the 70s.
Yep.
By a husband and wife, Ken and Roberta Williams, whose names you might find familiar from the King's Quest series. Roberta Williams wrote just about all of those games, and they were the thing that put Sierra on the map. But Sierra did a lot of other things, from simple releases at first to more complex story-driven things like Heroes Quest and Space Quest and
Police Quest.
Yep, which we can talk about more there. I believe they did Leisure Suit Larry as well.
I don't know how much Ken and Roberta had to do with that one. Al Lowe kind of spearheaded that little project. It was Sierra for sure, but I don't know how much Ken and Roberta actually did with that. Matter of fact, how much did they do with it? Okay, so Ken Williams asked Al Lowe to update a little text game called Soft Porn Adventure from 1981.
Wait, who made Soft Porn Adventure?
That was Chuck Benton of well, he was kind of an independent writer and submitted this to Sierra, who at that time was named Online Systems. So
before being changed to Sierra Online.
Yeah, so Soft Porn Adventure is actually the primitive text version of the original Leisure Suit Larry. They're the exact same storyline, the exact same game. Except
I can't imagine trying to play Leisure Suit Larry as a text-based adventure.
I couldn't either until I tested it, and holy shit. You could just tell that Chuck Benton might have been a little bit deprived, shall we say?
Anyway, I am gonna have to go back and find your stream of that game if you have in fact streamed it.
Leisure Suit Larry, and well, I didn't stream either Larry or Soft Porn, and I probably won't. But holy, oh my god. So what were we saying? Okay,
the history of Sierra Online.
So it was actually Roberta Williams who kind of revolutionized graphics in gaming. And early on, she was playing, like, she would play text adventure games just for fun on the Apple II. But out of dissatisfaction with that, came up with the thought of, hey, what if there are pictures to go along with the story? So it was that inspired the first high-res adventure called Mystery House. And from there, out came 5 more in the same style, which were all highly popular at the time. To name a few, Cranston Manor, The Dark Crystal, Ulysses and the Golden Fleece, Adventure in Serenia, which was considered a prelude to the King's Quest series. But yeah, King's Quest was the first real venture into the Quest series, which, as opposed to just pictures and words, was the first real moving animation game. So Roberta had a lot to do with that development there.
Mm-hmm. Sierra was, for a very long time, a very small company, very small staff. Sometimes it was, just a two-person project.
Mm-hmm.
And so each individual person had a lot of sway over the direction of the games. And sometimes this would be great because these were some really inventive people. And sometimes it would get a little bit troublesome because some of the games got a little bit political, which we could talk about another time. But their Police Quest series was a very notable example of what happens when you try to cover a topic and not be political. You end up making political statements whether you want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that will be another episode. For now, let's focus on their edutainment games.
Yes. It'd probably be easier, honestly, to just pull up Sierra Chest's videos and talk over those games as they're... Yeah. Talk over those games as they're playing. Because honestly, we'll be sitting here forever if I try and recall everything about those games and actually play it out. But that'll be for another time. So yeah, that was the early part of Sierra, where they started, and pretty much where they came from to get here.
And I guess we should kind of cap it off with the thing that killed Sierra. And one of the things that killed it was accounting fraud. Their parent company had been committing just massive book cooking. But not only that, they had lost a lot of money, and a lot of the programmers and the studio itself had become blacklisted after they made an expansion for Diablo, the original Diablo. Not many people know that, but they were given a strict set of instructions on what to do and what not to do, and they basically told Blizzard to blow it out their asshole, and they did whatever they wanted with the expansion, and it turned out great, iconic even. They pioneered some of the things that would become key components of the Diablo universe, and they were eviscerated for it by Blizzard and by their parent company.
Vivendi.
Yep, and then they would later go on to publish Half-Life, a little game you may have heard of. And then right after those two huge successes, the fraud hit and they just tanked. They went down in flames.
Yep. So basically the 2000s were not a good decade at all for Sierra. Or for
I think they made a NASCAR game at one point. Talk about hitting a low.
Yeah, this was, I want to say this was following the fraud. I could be mistaken, but I think that came somewhere around 2000, 2001, at least the first one.
I have in my notes that they were on fire after publishing Diablo and Half-Life, and then the fraud happened immediately after to sink them.
Yeah, March 98.
So everything that happened in the 2000s was post-layoffs, post-being sold off, post-Vivendi being acquired by Vivendi, and
And then their later acquisition by Activision.
Mm-hmm. Activision.
They were not heard of again for another 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah, Sierra was an absolute superpower running up to the late 90s. Until Ken Dant and Vivendi and all that. What a mess.
Yep.
What a
They
mess.
did produce they did produce some interesting games, but a lot of their games were fairly unknown. They produced Caesar 4, which was a good game. They produced The Chronicles of Riddick Assault on Dark Athena, which was considered to be a dark horse hit, came out of nowhere. 9 out of 10s across the board. No one cared about the IP. No one thought it was going to be any good. No one cared about the publisher, the developer, but it was a sleeper hit.
Mhm.
They had a hand in also 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, the video game where you play as 50 Cent.
I totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, folks, we are talking about the rapper.
Yeah. 50 Cent. I forget his real name.
Talk about down the fucking rabbit hole.
Yep. But that's Sierra Online. So those are the people who made this.
Mhm.
They made this in the early mid 90s.
Mm.
So all of this stuff would happen, you know, not too long later. Like Half-Life would only be a couple years after this game came out. You want to talk about a jump in product quality and technology.
Oh yeah, this was I believe this was 1992, The Island of Dr. Brain.
Okay,
Half-Life
so just
was
6 years later.
Yeah, Half-Life was late 98.
Mm-hmm.
3D, to your note, Chibi, 3D Ultra Mini Golf. Yes, they are Sierra. That was an aesthetically wonderful game, at least for me. Do you ever play any of those, like 3D Mini Golf, 3D Pinball?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No. I haven't. I played almost every single of the Quest games, the King's Quest, the Heroes, the Quest for Glory.
I mean, same thing.
Yep. Those were like my big intros, but my parents wanted me to have like edutainment games instead of brain rot video games, so
I wouldn't call those brain rot.
Well, I wouldn't either, but they did.
That's shameful.
And so that was why we had the Castle of Dr. Brain. And we had the Island of Dr. Brain, but even with the manuals, I could never figure out how to find the island.
Mm.
So,
well, here we are, on the island.
in the island.
In the island, yes.
So to close out on the history of Sierra, they really didn't do very much edutainment. The Castle of Dr. Brain and the Island of Dr. Brain were really the only ones that I could find that were really trying to like brand themselves as being brain games or there to teach you something. But they really stand out as good games.
Mm-hmm. And the later entries, The Lost Mind and The Time Warp of Dr. Brain, are more puzzle. They're more puzzle games though than they are edutainment, and that's not a bad thing.
The Time Warp of Dr. Brain! I completely forgot that game existed!
Did you really?
Yes! I loved it! Gridlock was my fucking jam.
Oh my god.
I could do that urban planning shit for hours. I loved that game.
Being a music guy, I loved Caveman Rock.
The
Brain.
Primordial Soup! Man.
Primordial Soup. I have very little patience to go beyond novice with that one. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. That and the damn beaver.
Man, let's Let's fucking ditch this loser game and go play some Time Warp of Dr. Brain.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We got to do Lost Mine first.
Fair, fair. Continuity is important.
Yep. But no, we will absolutely indefinitely get there.
Alright, so speaking of getting there, let's start here.
Yes, and here the next thing we need to do is play with this microscope. That microscope is lit. The microorganism sorter.
So the goal here is to segregate, to make like a 1950s white school system and refuse to integrate.
I'm not entirely sure I would have described it that way, but you're not wrong.
And what I find so interesting is how incredibly difficult these problems would be if you didn't have the graphical interface and the ability to trial and error to adjust your curves.
Yep. So on Novice, we just had horizontal and vertical lines. Standard introduced diagonals, and now we have to play with a parabola. Now, I can clearly see where the line has to be and where the parabola has to be. So, let's do the line first, because that's theoretically easier. So, let's see. It looks to me like the line needs to go through the vertex 0, 0. And
isn't that the origin?
Oh, thank you. Yes, the origin. No, the vertex would be this point of the parabola, right at the direction change.
Wow. My 8th grade math teachers would be proud of me for recognizing those terms.
And mine would be ashamed of me, especially since I have a minor in this shit.
Really? I guess you have more to remember.
Provided I remember it at all. So the line, so I can tell you that the y-intercept is 0 because there's a clear split at the origin. So let's move that line right on down. And so it looks to me like there's still separation going -2 to the left and then +1 up. So a slope of -1/2 should do the trick here. There. Well, actually seems kind of high. Maybe I need to change the slope just that little bit more. But I'm close enough there. Let's flip the parabola around.
I think that red guy is sneaking around. I think you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to make
the slope.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to make a little bit of a tweak. I'll worry about that momentarily. Let me at least get the parabola close. All right. So it looks like there should be a y-intercept at 7 above the origin. So let's do that first. Ah, there we go. So y indicates Alright, so the sharpness is indicated by both coefficients x and y.
I do, to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier about why these are good puzzles to start with. These are puzzles where you don't know what you're doing. You don't know the math behind how to solve the puzzle. I'm sure there's, I mean, I'm 100% sure because I'm looking at them, formulas to figure out these puzzles. And you don't know what they are. You're like a kid, and you've never done this math. But when you can see the formula and play with it, you get a sense of how different things, different notations, different operators change the way that lines are positioned and what you can do with them. And I find that this little bit of experimentation adds a great deal of accessibility.
Congratulations, you have earned a gold algebra plaque.
Pure trial and error right there.
Yep, and that's just it, is that you brute force it, but you see how you would solve the math and do the math if you were doing it, quote-unquote, correctly.
Right,
on
you see,
like a math test.
right, if you're watching that, you see how changing the coefficients and the constants alter the shape as you go. So you
Which
can
I think is a great way of kind of teaching how geometry works, is geometry in motion.
Absolutely, because then you can see, like, say, what if I change the coefficient on y? It'll make it wider, it'll make it narrow, sharper, duller, etc. But yeah, you can see that as you're going, and I think that's a fine way to do it because it makes you understand and be able to visualize how to solve this in your head, making you that much better at algebraic reasoning. So now we are given a receipt to put into the sarcophagus.
As you do.
As you do. Alright, so this time there are 5 patterns. It was 3 simple ones in bronze, 4 simple and progressive patterns.
Oh, it's a Fibonacci sequence.
Sure is. That being said, what goes there?
3?
Mm-hmm.
3. And this is the first one where you really can have like a kind of fail state, where like it's not just trial and error. You need to figure out the patterns and solve them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just brute force one of them because you have to do 10 puzzles.
Yep. Alright, so for those of you who don't understand the Fibonacci sequence, it begins with 1s, and then once you have 2 numbers, the next number adds the previous 2 numbers together. Hence,
Well, 0 is the implied 0th number.
right. But I mean, I think it's, I don't know, I think it's actually a written expletive that says it starts with 1s until you have the 2 to add together.
Fair enough.
And as you can see, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, and going right on down the line. So now for this next pattern, you can figure it out one of 2 ways. Let's see which way you figure it, Ferret.
Oh, you're making me go look at the puzzle again. Okay. Alright, so that would be plus 94.
Mm-hmm.
Does that hold up? Plus 94. Yes, it does hold up. Okay, so plus 94 from 306 is 400.
Mm-hmm. So what I did was I split it up into alternating groups. for the odd numbers in the sequence, the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th, you're adding 51 each time. For the evenly placed numbers, you're adding 51 each time. Or alternatively, you could add 94 and then subtract 43 to give yourself that 51. But yeah, a couple ways to do it. What do we have here on this next one? Again, there are two ways to do it.
Let's see. That's 35, and then that's 17. That's 23. Oh boy, this one is actually a bit of a stumper. Let me go grab some paper. Yeah! I'm assuming that you already know the answer.
Yep.
Alright, okay.
As it happens, all three of these next patterns can be figured out using one of those two ways, the same exact way each time.
Well, it's definitely not Fibonacci, because it's progressing too slowly, so...
Yeah, and also 361 is not the sum of 289 and 324.
Mm-hmm. Huh. You increase by... Oh, is it increasing by 2 every time?
Right, the addition adds by 2 every time from the previous addition.
So then it's plus 39. So 400 again?
Uh-huh.
There are those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who don't know anything happen. Which are you?
Well, I didn't know if you waited too long. Not that that would happen. But anyway, 400 is correct. So you figured out one of the two ways to do it. The other way to do it is if you recognize the pattern of squares. Do me a favor, divide 289 by 17.
No.
Use a calculator if you have to.
Okay, it's a square.
Divide 324 by 18.
Wait. That...
Are you seeing it?
That couldn't possibly... It couldn't possibly be all squares.
Well, you tell me. Divide 361.
Okay, what is 18 squared? Oh, shit. I did not realize how linearly that was going to be. Okay.
19 squared is 361. 20 squared is 400.
Huh.
And right on up the line.
Fascinating. I would have thought that exponents would have been more exponential.
Not really. No, all it does is... Well, think about it this way. So 17 times 17 is 289, right?
Evidently.
Alright, so So if you go from 17 times 17 to 17 times 18, you're just adding another 17 to that number. And then if you go 18 times 18, you're just tacking on another 18. That's how you get the 35 between 289 and 324.
So the pattern, the difference of the sums would only be 2.
That's right.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
It
just was unexpected to me.
Yeah, that's the mathematical breakdown of it.
Math is cool.
Yep. And Chibi
math
has it. Math is.
That's something that's like completely unaddressed. If you weren't here to note it and have that teachable moment, the game would never have taught me.
Yep.
But it's there. It's in there.
Yep.
It never comes out.
Yep. Chibi has it correct, 36. Do you see why?
Yeah, because it's, again, squares.
And they kind of messed that up with the last pattern because notice the last half of the pattern we just did. If that's not
it's repeating from the 36 to the 36.
Yeah, if that's not a fucking gimme, I don't know what is.
Yes, the answer is going to be 81. No math needed here, fuckos.
Numbered series plaque.
So now we got stone discs, which go over here to the classic towers of Hanoi. So,
is this different on the different difficulty levels?
Yeah, novice was 4 discs, standard was 5. Now we've got 7.
All right, but nothing really changes. The stacking pattern remains the same.
Yeah, this is just going to be a really annoying and long bitch to deal with.
All right, well let's
talk, please, because this is going to annoy me real quick.
So this is mostly about making patterns that produce an output towards what you need, and doesn't get there immediately.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
It's about finding. It's one of those games that is, it has no fail state. It's just once you see how you make progress, you progress towards solving it. But until then, you're just kind of playing with the discs and seeing how you can manipulate them until you figured out the correct pattern of manipulation.
Yeah.
So
the thing with me in this puzzle is I know what the pattern is. It's just
and it never changes.
It's just really long and annoying.
Yep, they haven't made it harder, they've just made it more tedious.
Yeah, pretty much. See, basically you want to set it up so that it's an odds and evens game, basically.
I must admit, it is incredibly boring to watch.
Yeah.
Even though I know what you're doing, and it's just like the speed of thought is way faster than the speed of these discs moving around.
Oh, okay. I'm still good. I momentarily lost track of what I was doing. Now an even needs to be on top of this odd. And now an odd needs to be on top of this even. All right. Second verse, reverse from the first.
I suppose this is a good point to talk about how when you play on a lower difficulty, you learn things that help you with the higher difficulty level. Because it would be very difficult to accidentally solve this puzzle. But once you've learned that there's a formula behind it, a method behind it, it becomes much easier.
Oh, fuck me. What did I just do?
Oh, did you mess up the perfect score?
Wouldn't be messing up the perfect score, just the perfect, finish. I've utterly lost track. Damn it, what did I just do? Yeah, it's easy to lose track if you let yourself go blank.
I think you need to move backwards.
I'm not sure that's necessary quite yet. Okay, I'm fine.
You're good.
I'm alright, I did fine. I did what I needed to do there.
Cool.
Alright, this is disc number 5, so I need to put an even on top of it, which would be number 2.
That is a much better system of mental organization, making it evens and odds.
Uh-huh. Now odd. Okay, that's 6, so odd. Okay, now odd. This will be over soon, promise.
Yeah, but I know what comes after this, and it's even worse.
What do you mean, like puzzle-wise?
Yeah, the literal puzzle that's coming up.
Oh.
The jigsaw puzzle.
Oh. You just
Fatang yig.
You just had to remind me of that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I have a better concept of what the puzzle's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I tripped up, despite my long pause. Damn. Okay, so the formula for the optimal solution of the Hanoi puzzle is 2 to the n power minus 1, where n is the number of discs that you're playing with. So for 4 discs, that would be 2 to the 4th, which equals 16, minus 1 for 15. For 5 discs, 2 to the 5th, which is 32, minus 1. And for this one, 2 to the 7th, which is 128, minus 1. Damn. I know what I'm doing. It's just a matter of keeping it straight in my head.
Yep, you'll get it.
Congratulations, you've earned a gold logic sequence plaque.
But we did it. So for the jigsaw puzzle, we had big pieces, which are more jagged than standard pieces, like the ones we had in Castle. On standard, we had smaller pieces, but the outer border was given to us. Somehow, I really don't think... Yeah. It looks like we have the small pieces, and the outer border is not a given.
I'm lagging a bit behind. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hoo boy.
Well, here goes.
Alright, so... I want to be able to talk about the things that this puzzle does and why it's got redeeming qualities, but I really just hate it. I hate this puzzle! I hate this puzzle because it's got a theme, and the theme is pink flamingos and moving water. And the animated water is supposed to be the thing that really helps you because you can see animations happen and you can kind of link together animations. So it's not just the color that you're linking up, but like the smoothing the transitions of the animation between water to help you recognize the pattern of the pieces. But with so few things to help you discern what you're doing, it's really not that helpful. I really wish there was a way to just kind of smash through this puzzle.
It's a jigsaw puzzle, for fuck's sakes. How much education are we going to get out of this?
I mean, they are doing something new with the medium, which I appreciate. You can't have an animated jigsaw puzzle without a computer. So, hooray for doing a new thing. Like, it is interesting, I suppose, but it's not educational, it's not tremendously interesting, it's just kind of there.
It's absolutely true.
And it eats up a huge amount of time, and the way you get bonus points is really...
Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on that.
It punishes you for competence.
We haven't even mentioned that in general yet.
And makes you waste time. So it's really not even a good... It's really not even a good extra credit problem here, because it forces you to just slow down and take more time and game the system to get more points. So if you want to talk about how that works, Alpha...
Yeah, so you can play the same types of puzzles repeatedly to get bonus points. They randomize each time, or they just have a long list of built-in puzzles for that category. I'm not sure which. But either way, to get a perfect score, you have to repeatedly play the same kind of puzzle a lot.
And here, the way you get bonus points is to beat your score repeatedly.
Beat your previous time to get more points.
The problem with that is that this just means that you need to do a really slow job at solving the puzzle the first time.
I'm not doing that, by the way.
No. Fuck no. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is just poor game design because it's easily exploitable. It rewards unfun and unskillful behavior. And it doesn't really reward anything because growth is something that is really hard to measure. Unless there's a reward for doing your best every time, which there isn't. So there's no good design here. Everything is terrible.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Basically, just keep going until you hear a click.
And like I said, I appreciate the ability to kind of brute force a puzzle as a way of easing into the concepts that it's teaching. But the microscope was an excellent example of doing that right, because you've got something that you're teaching and you're using a brute force method to show how you can use the correct methods to get there, and teach concepts, whereas this is just, here kids, solve this puzzle. Oh, we've already spent 5 minutes of our life doing this. This is 5 minutes we're never gonna get back, Alpha.
I know, I know. I know.
I remember this piece. That fucking piece, because I was like, it links in with the other piece at the top. It doesn't! It doesn't! It just looks like it does, because it's shaped the same and it's got animated water on it!
Oh, that was lucky. Where was the diving board? You ever been necked by a flamingo?
I've never met a flamingo in real life. I assume that they would be
Rather flamboyant.
Although, my girlfriend coaches a gay men's rugby team called the Flamingos. They are delightful people.
First of all, I was unaware that you had actually made an official connection. Congratulations.
Ah, yes. We'll talk more about that after the stream.
Yes, indeed. And second, the Flamingos?
It's the gayest name they could think of.
No kidding.
I'm told that an acceptable official name for a group of flamingos is a flamboyance of flamingos.
Really? I half expected it would be a pride.
Ho! That's a good one.
Thank you very much.
The next time I'm responsible for the creation of a gay team, sports team, it will have to be the Lions, because there'll be a pride of Lions.
I was hoping you would go there with this. Right
You
there.
lay him up, and I stumble across the finish line, unaware that we are trying to play basketball. I think that was the last piece of the umbrella, but I
Yeah,
don't know when we're going to see that piece again.
Sure looks like
Not
it,
this
but...
one, the one before it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see it again, eventually.
This is going surprisingly faster than the previous time we did this.
Yeah, let's not jinx it. I had enough trouble with it the first time. Again, it helps when you have an idea what's where. Which the last couple times I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn it. Oh, right there. And I still got 2 corner pieces to come. Aha.
Uh-huh.
I got a piece of the ship.
I don't even remember the ship.
It was up here.
Evidently.
Alright, we've passed 10. Kinda hope I can finish this in 20. Or less, should I be so lucky.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're going to have to break this one up into being a 2-parter.
Yeah. Another thing I was hoping wouldn't be.
Down. No, you got it.
Huh,
It's above the wheel, I think.
Above the wheel?
Am I crazy?
No, that's it.
That's got to be close to the foreground.
Yeah.
Because, I think that piece connected to the flamingo that was right next to the chest.
Yeah, it's
Because
alright.
it was a larger neck, you knew it was farther in the foreground.
Is that its neck that you're looking at?
That was the neck that was on the piece, so yes.
Oh, okay.
Were you trying to make like a crude sexual joke? If so, I'm sorry that I messed it up.
You mean something?
Yes,
You mean
flamingo necks are just the sexiest. I cannot maintain an erection without a flamingo neck.
No, I'm saying the necks are the erections.
Erections.
Hmm.
Necks have vertebrae, so they are not erectile.
Are they prehensile?
I don't actually know what prehensile means. You know, I always just, like, I understand that it's, like, it's a tail that can grip things, but, like, what does prehensile mean?
To be honest with you, the only context I have for it is the song from Rocco's Modern Life.
What a great show. A show deeply steeped in its creator's existential despair. Alright, prehensile just means capable of grasping. So I suppose you could grasp with a flamingo neck. I bet you could.
Humans can grasp with some appendages.
I challenge you to pick up a pencil with
With what?
your penis. Because that's what you were talking about, and let's not pretend you weren't.
You are aware that if I broadcast that, my show will be off the air.
So, as long as we make it, comport with Twitch's guidelines, it will be fine.
It's got a fucking penis in it.
Listen, people do, body art, like, nude body art on Twitch all the time, and it's fine. I mean, that is actually legitimately art, and not just people literally dicking around. But
Yeah, but how is what I'm doing art?
wait, that's gonna be closer to the foreground. Does it go to that flamingo there?
There, I got him.
It's all coming together.
Yep.
It's really frustrating when you can like see it, but it's hard to describe where it goes.
Mm.
It's that thing by the flamingo in the water.
Yeah, but still, it looks like we may be able to put this thing to peace after all.
Did you try and make a pun there?
Yes.
You're a terrible person. You're a bad friend.
No shit, Sherlock, and yet here you are. Oh shit, I missed it. There we go. Nope. Goes somewhere around here, I know that.
Well, if it's not one in the hand.
It's the two in my bush. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Whoops. Nope, I wanted the chest. There we go.
I think I'm a little bit behind you at this point.
Alright, let me drop this piece and I'll see what I can do.
Oh, wait, no, it just snapped in because you just placed two pieces in very rapid succession.
Well, I mean, I did that anyway.
The ring goes with the ring in the dead center.
Aha. This did not go badly compared to what I was thinking it would be.
Yeah. This is still going to be like 18 odd minutes of our life that we're never going to get back, but hey, it could have been worse.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not complaining. Actually, at this point, I'm thinking I may beat 18.
Ooh, let me say from experience, never go below 18. Please frown on that sort of thing.
Well, how about 16?
Legal in Canada.
Congratulations! You have earned a gold pattern recognition plaque.
Alright, so...
Pattern recognition. It's not a pattern, you fool. There's no rhyme or reason to this madness.
So touching the nuts doesn't do anything.
You're gonna love my nuts.
Thank you, Vince.
Herewith, slap chop. I almost said chap slop, which is actually a better name for it.
Slap chop my nuts. Yeah, puns everywhere you look and everywhere you touch. Let's touch a flamingo. Alright, so this is a thing where you touch a flamingo and they change to different colors depending on where you click. It's not that straightforward to explain, so let me just take a look at this.
I think this might be our last puzzle of the evening.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's see if I can make this a little quicker than the puzzle was. So we have to turn the center guy green, the bottom middle white, and the bottom right purple. So we can get we can get the bottom middle where he needs to be by clicking the top left. You basically have to analyze what each bird does as you click another bird.
Does right-clicking move in the opposite direction?
Nope.
Okay.
Whoops.
Have we tried the middle yet? I haven't seen any that alter the bottom right. Oh, something just altered the bottom right.
Got it. So what was the educational value in that one? Nothing really makes sense until you actually click on things.
Yeah, you do need to experiment to figure out what each button does. But I must say I do... What? Okay, we're gonna put this one off for another night.
Yeah. We can't do German. We found out during the testing that German's got a bug in it that doesn't let you repeat a word even if the word is repeated on the word list.
Well, we don't know if that's exclusive to German.
We don't, but we know that we can't do German because of that very bug.
Well, I don't know about can't.
No, definitely can't because...
Are the puzzles not random?
Well, here's the thing. I think they have it set up so that there is a list of different puzzles. Yeah, a list of different puzzles for that language, but this one requires us to find all 20 words that show up on the list, which means if even one word is repeated, like it was on the test, that's it. We can't...
But are there different word lists for each difficulty level? Because if the medium difficulty level is the only one that has the bug, and medium difficulty doesn't need you to get every single one, then it's not a game-breaking bug.
Well, not if you dial the difficulty level down. But the thing is, the difference in difficulty is how many words you have to find, not what the words are or how long the list is. You're always given a list of...
lists are the same.
Yeah, you're always given a list of 20. It's just how many do you have to find in order to finish it. And on Expert, I have to think that it would be all 20.
Alright,
Well, let me back off of... Well, it won't let me.
Step off, brah.
It won't let me, so pick a language and that's the point where we'll save.
François.
François?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry,
God, I work with so many native French speakers. They would hate me so much.
Alright. Now, I hope that there are not... Oh no, maybe it's... Maybe it does randomize.
It's taking a while to generate.
Maybe it does randomize. It would have to in order to have a generation wait.
It does seem like it's failing to generate, because it generated the other puzzle way faster. So it's probably doing a parity check for completion, finding it can't be completed, tossing it, and generating a new one.
Well, that's possible. What I can do off screen is keep it up.
Oh, I bet that you can't get a game-breaking bug because I bet that as part of generating, it solves it to win condition before deciding whether to keep it or toss it. and I bet that it could win with a repeated word on medium, so it kept it.
That makes a shit ton of sense, actually. Alright, so what I can do off screen is keep this thing running, and I'll be able to report back to you if it actually does come up with a puzzle or if it is just frozen up or whatever have you.
It's making like a I'm still here and working sound.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing as well. And I'm watching the bars bump up on my OBS.
Alright, well...
Yeah, this would be a fine place to just cut it for the episode. But basically, this has been the idea. Like, we're explaining like the upsides of certain edutainment elements, the downsides of them, the graphics, the sounds, the content of the puzzles, the history of Sierra and whatever company is involved in whatever game we're doing, and all of that. Basically, that's the idea behind Growing Up Edutained. Let me know in the chats or in the comments what you guys think of this idea, and like, should we continue with it or should we just stick to playing and doing it that way? You tell us, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, this has been Alpha.
And this has been Ferret.
And we say, have an Alpha night.
Have an Alpha night.